This week on the Movies and Stuff show, we talk about Daniel Craig staying as Bond, Netflix playing the blame game, the rise and fall of Devin Faraci, and then we count down the top 10 best horror movie sequels. Stay tuned! And welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff show. We are coming to you live from the suburbs of New Jersey and Missouri. My name is Dan, and joining me is a man who gave up on OBS.
Yes, temporarily.
Back to XSplit.
Yes, OBS was doing the whole, I don't want to play the audio from your video again.
Back to XSplit.
We always come back to,
We have to. You kind of get the feeling that XSplit has sabotaged OBS for us somehow. I don't know how. I don't know why. Targeting just us.
Yes, it's Microsoft in the 90s here. OBS is Netscape.
Bill Gates coming into your living room and smashing your computer. Hi, Marty.
Yes, I do have Windows 10, so Microsoft is in my living room, but
how's it going?
no, not too bad. What's up with you?
Not much.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a week.
Back to the gin.
There you go.
Last week, a lot of people couldn't tell. Last week, I had a pinched nerve in my neck, and I powered through the show. It was pretty brutal. I remember telling you, I was in so much pain I could barely move my neck around, and I didn't feel like drinking gin last week to numb the pain. So I only drink gin to have fun. So gin is back. So I'm having fun.
That's good.
I was almost gonna make a martini, in dedication to our topic number 1,
which is.
If you put it in the right order, it should be.
Chill out.
It's a great segue. Talking about Bond. James Bond. Daniel Craig said he was done with the franchise. He was moving on to... What the hell was Daniel Craig going to do? What was he going to do? What was he going to do?
Remember that scene?
He's going some more action films, Bond-esque action films, but not quite James Bond. Is that what he was going to do?
Yeah, probably. Or he's just going to pull a Demi Moore and just roll around in money all day.
That sounds like a good idea.
What else is he going to do? Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to
just some crappy other action franchise.
Yeah, maybe so. What did Roger Moore do afterwards? Not a whole lot. He was in that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
I mean, I guess Connery had a career after Bond.
Oh well, yeah.
But it was just a bunch of random kind of.
Whoa, yeah. I mean,
it was just a bunch of randomness in Connery's career after Bond. I'm not saying it was a bad career.
Oh, you just say he has to be attached to a franchise to be any good?
I would say for him to be great, he has to be attached to a franchise. I don't know. Just I like Connery. I like Connery post Bond. I think he did some fun stuff. I mean, Highlander is really fun.
Yes.
It's a fun performance.
Highlander 2, not so much, but
no. But he did fun stuff. Just wasn't anything. I don't know. Am I missing something?
No, not really. No, I mean, Pierce Brosnan. Nobody says, "Oh, I'm going to go see a Pierce Brosnan movie anymore."
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Marty saying that Daniel Craig was a great stormtrooper. Fair point. Amanda's asking if she missed anything because she came in, I guess, a minute late to the show, and Robert Melee says she missed everything.
Oh, Outlander, very good, Kim. Yes.
Outland.
Outland?
Outland? He said Outland and Highland.
I always thought it was Outlander. Is it Outland?
Isn't Outlander the show that Ronald Moore does?
Yeah. We don't talk about Ronald Moore anymore.
Why? I like Ronald Moore. He was a great guest.
Oh, okay. Outland. That's right. It was Outland from '81 with his infamous costume.
Ponyboy saying he finally finished Vice Principals. Episode 8 was entitled Gin and was the best episode of the season. He was disappointed with it overall, but check out Gin. I am like 4 episodes into Vice Principals. I really like it.
All right.
I think it's really funny, so we'll see how it plays out in the end. But I'm a fan of Walton Goggins. I think his name is Walton. It's not Walter. I think it's Walton Goggins. He was in the last couple of Quentin Tarantino movies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And what was that cowboy? Like kind of the cowboy show, not cowboy show, with the guy that was from a cowboy show.
I'm not bailing you out here. I don't know which something.
Is that on FX?
Oh, the Sons of Anarchy, Justified.
Justified. He was in Justified. Yeah. Let's see. Talia Price is saying Daniel Craig is great as Bond. However, I think he needs to move on and do a really good comedy. He has the range. He needs to move on and do something. But no, it seems that he's back. It seems like he's back as Bond. He's going to take the money. And I mean, is there any fucking surprise here? Like, they were literally offering him so much goddamn money for 2 movies because they're clueless of what to do with Bond. They have no clue what to do with Bond right now. So their only tactic is to stall by doing 2 more Bond movies with Craig. That's all they can do at this point because they can't think of outside. Like, I don't know. The Bond franchise to me is. I'm not a huge Bond fan. I don't think it's been a great overall franchise. It's had some really great highs, but I also think the lows, like the misses, were way too many.
As opposed to any other franchise we could pick out of a hat? I don't think so. I don't think its average is any worse than any other franchise out there. I have to be honest.
Star Wars?
I have not been altered in my perceptions. 1, 2, and 3, terrible. Still, to this day, you people that are rewriting history and saying the prequels are good, you're so full of shit. Leaving Phantom Menace was like leaving a funeral afterwards. Nobody said a good goddamn thing about that movie. It was only after you watched it 15 fucking times that you were like, oh, no, I guess I can see what he was trying to do here. It's actually pretty clever. No, that shit doesn't hold water. I'm sorry. Unbelievable. You people really piss me off sometimes. Where's Marty?
Marty's when he catches up to the show. Yeah, right, I'm sure he'll have some comments.
He's flying to Kansas City right now.
Talia also saying it's being a dead horse. He's going to end up like Roger Moore, and he's almost 50. It's funny thinking about that. He's almost 50. The last night I caught like 15 minutes or so of Casino Royale. Because I'm a fan of like 2/3 of that film, right? I think Casino Royale's 2/3 of it's great.
3/4 of it, I think you would say.
Okay, 3/4, something like that. Like the 4th act really should have been. Anyway, I was looking at it. I was like, man, Daniel Craig looks so young. Not so much anymore.
No, the age is catching up to him.
Yeah.
No, he did. He took the money. And
did.
Yeah.
As Robert Maley says, a big dump truck full of money, I'm sure.
It was.
Marty says, I don't know why you try and hurt me. So yeah, I mean, Craig cashes in. I don't think there's any surprise there.
No, none.
Speaking of money in the movies.
Oh, segue.
Kind of a segue. Let's talk about Netflix. All right. The CEO of Netflix, his name is Reed Hastings.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bad porn name. Like, really.
You think so? Reed Hastings.
Reed Hastings.
I could see him as an evil rich guy in a comedy.
That too. We'll take that.
Yes.
Reed Hastings.
He
said that
Muffy's, where she's playing tennis or something out back with the tennis instructor. And
Reed Hastings. He's got to have like the little sweater.
Yeah.
Right? The Carlton sweater.
Yes. Tied around. Yes.
Reed Hastings. Not badass enough to have a monocle. not that good
No,
of a rich villain, but
no, you've got to have a more European name than that, an old world European name.
Reed O. Hastings.
Yes, that'll work perfectly, Dan. Let's move on.
Apparently, Reed Hastings said that theater owners are strangling the movie business by not embracing the dual releases of films, both in theaters and online in a service such as Netflix. Oh. And I have been a huge proponent of this for a while now. I want there to be dual releases like this. I think it would be great for the industry. I think it'd be great for films to be. I think they can still make their money. It doesn't matter. I think there's a price point there. I think you can do same weekend release for like $50 and people would still pay it just so they don't have to go to the movies. They can have 4 people like watching the movie at their house, and it makes it economically worth it for them, for both parties, right? I'm a huge fan of this, but I don't know, man. There's just, maybe it's the way that Reed Hastings phrased it. It's just rubbing me the wrong way for some reason. Am I reading into this too much? What do you think of like what he had to say about this?
I thought it was really interesting because I don't think there's a chance in hell Netflix is going to pony up this kind of money to get these movies. I think they're playing they're showing us their cards. They don't really have an interest in getting movies. Man, I was scrolling through that new release section is a graveyard. Just a graveyard on Netflix. It's pathetic. So, I mean, if I'm Reed, I shut the hell up because if you don't, maybe this actually comes true. And then Amazon's going to jump in front of you and get all these movies because Amazon seems to be the one that actually wants to show movies. Maybe even Hulu too. I don't know. I mean, obviously Hulu doesn't have the deep pockets that Netflix does, but
I mean, Amazon has more money than
right.
every other company except for like 2 in the world. I mean,
and they seem to want movies on their service.
Yeah. And if they could get the new releases, they would jump on it. I mean, honestly, it's almost as if Netflix is trying to predict a death knell for themselves I mean, at this point, Netflix should just kind of like not say anything because they're not prepared to jump into this game where Amazon is, and Amazon could just take over the entire market from them. If they were able to get all the big releases, it's just corner that, and Netflix can't afford that stuff.
No, I think the same thing. I see what Netflix is trying to do. They're going after the original programming. They're trying to be the new HBO.
Which begs the question.
Yeah.
If theaters should be requiring new releases to be online streaming, then would any original Netflix materials be required to be in theaters?
How so? Like, I'm not quite understanding.
I'm just saying, if Netflix is complaining,
yeah,
that all new release movies should be available on Netflix, should then all Netflix content be available in movie theaters at the same day that it's released on Netflix?
Well, that's an interesting option or question, I guess. Netflix produces their own content. These theater owners are literally the middleman between us and the studios.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't know that question holds up. I mean, Netflix, if they actually want to be nominated for an Academy Award for any of their material, has to get it to the theater.
I'm just wondering if that was the trade-off. If Netflix
would send their stuff like,
because the big thing about Netflix is the fact is you can just like binge watch these entire shows as soon as they come out. Like there's no waiting period. You just get everything all at once. Now, if there was some kind of conditions where you had to then, I'm not even talking about the movies per se, because it's not like Netflix is making like a ton of these great films at this point. Mm-hmm. But imagine it's just like, well, for every new episode of Orange is the New Black, it has to release in theaters, and you can only do it one at a weekend, like at a time, and release. I just wonder if they're thinking of it from that point of view of the theaters have. This is what their income is.
Yeah. Right.
This is what the theaters do. It's not like Netflix has something else that they can fall back on and make money on.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why Netflix is just like complaining about this. Now, that said, I agree.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with it too. But I mean, no, you're right and you're wrong about the theaters in that the theaters are
Mostly wrong.
Yeah, well, they're they're a service to sell you popcorn and $7 candy. The movies have nothing to do with it.
Right.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm burn them down. That's my thought. Get rid of the movie theaters. Just go straight to streaming. Or hell, AMC. I'm going to sell you $1 million idea. I'll pay you $20 a movie ticket if I can stream the movie and or go to the theater. I'll pay.
See, Amanda's saying though that she would absolutely go to a movie theater to binge watch Stranger Things or the Marvel stuff.
Wow, that's a lot of sitting in a movie theater seat. Well, that's cool. Maybe
there is Stranger Things.
I got bored.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
everyone loves it. I didn't.
I got bored. I mean,
I'll watch it like 3 years from now.
I just didn't have time. That's what I mean.
I'll watch it when 10 years when I finally got around to watching like Deadwood and Carnival. I'll get around to watching other shows like a decade from now.
That's kind of how I feel about Westworld.
Oh no, you got to watch Westworld.
I will when it's
No, now.
No. I'm not jumping I'm not jumping into another JJ series. No.
Watch it now.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Here's the thing. It's produced by JJ. Right? It's just got his bad robot name on it. Yeah. But it's Jonathan Nolan and I can't remember his writing and directing partner's name. I can't remember her name. But it's them, and they've plotted out 5 seasons worth of material already. So there's a direction for 5 seasons. So for at least 5 seasons that there's a course that they're going to follow. Now, if it's a huge success in season like 4, that's when you get worried. Because exactly, that's when you get worried.
Yeah. Hey, I watched a show where it said the Cylons had a plan, and we were assured that no, this is going somewhere. We know where this is going. Battlestar Galactica. I watched that last season of Battlestar Galactica. I don't believe that shit they sell anymore. If a showrunner says, "Oh no, we got it all mapped out," mm-hmm.
Well, the funny thing is, like, Breaking Bad didn't have it all mapped out.
No,
they were kind of creating as they were going, and I think overall they pulled it off really well. Like for doing it on the fly, without having a master plan.
Okay,
no, you disagree?
What? No, I'm fine. Okay. I'm not jumping in yet. It's a little early for me to jump into a series.
I'm talking about Breaking Bad, though.
I kind of missed the middle part of it. It's right. A lot of TV watching I have to commit to. Hey, movies, 2 hours, you're done. A TV show, that's
good thing our show's not called TV and stuff.
It's really good.
Last topic here.
Oh, boy.
Perfect.
You can't make a joke about it.
Perfect. You can't make a joke about this. It's straight out of the box of surprised, not surprised here. I guess we'll refer to him as former online film reviewer and social justice warrior, Devin Faraci. Mm-hmm. He was accused of sexually assaulting a woman. The incident apparently happened at a bar 12 years ago, in 2004. And Faraci did not deny the assault, and he initially said that he didn't remember. But if he did it, and he's basically saying, I have to trust that I did this since the woman brought it up, and that he's sorry. Faraci has since quit, but the speculation is that he was forced out from his role at Birth
Movies Death.
Yes, right? Yes. Formerly known as Badass Digest.
Yes.
I believe. I actually I want to read the Hollywood Reporter did an interview with the woman who leveled the claim against Faraci. So I do want to read some of that, but just your initial reactions to all of this, knowing Faraci's personality and kind of his online persona. Like, how do you take all of this?
This is it's just hard to understand how to take it exactly. your initial, I mean, okay, for me personally, my initial reaction was a bit of like, fuck you. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to say it. He has gone after, he has insulted, he has even tiptoed around threatening so many people. He has attacked so many people. And for this to come out, my initial reaction was, laughing at him. Haha, they finally got him. It was feeling good that he was being taken down. But then you start to realize why he's being taken down. He's got this sexual assault against one woman that we know of right now. More is coming out now that this guy might be a serial abuser of women. And the implications in these comments that these women are making indicate that this was a very bad kept secret. A lot of people knew about this. So a lot of people helped enable Devin's behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. You sometimes when you think of extremists, I want to call Devin Faraci an extremist.
You would or would not?
I would.
Yeah.
I will call him an extremist. He is an extremist. And most of the times with extremists, more times than not, it's for them to cover up the fact that they are actually opposite of what they're being extreme for.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah.
So here he is. He's Mr. Women's rights, Mr. Social Justice Warrior in regards to anything to do with film, anything to just
video games, anime,
anything. Yeah. Picking up the torch, and he almost did, to me. He almost did it in a condescending way. It's like, well, women are precious, and we just need to protect them and fight for their rights because no one else is going to do it. So I have to do it. That's always how he came off to me. I never found it genuine at all. I've been on the show before, and I've talked about Faraci and how much I dislike him as a human being. Mm-hmm. As I think he's terrible as a film reviewer as well. I think I can't find any value in his work. Maybe it's because I am blinded by this hatred of his personality. I think he screwed over so many people. I genuinely like Nick Nunziata.
He did screw him over. There's no doubt about that.
Screwed over Nunziata badly.
Yeah.
And left that site and left, personally, I'm sure Nunziata in such disarray, and has created this career for himself. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And we all suspected it was bullshit. And it sucks that this is the way that it was proven that it was bullshit.
Yeah, I wish it was some other way. I mean, I just wish he was not hurting other people.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to defend him, I guess, a little bit right here. I think he's a hell of a writer. I think he's good. I think he gets his points across quite well. I don't like his writings. And I freely admit that's probably because I have a prejudice against him. But I do think he's a very good writer.
Yeah. I mean, he's in the scheme of things, for being an online reviewer, if you're comparing him with the Great Red Giant over at Ain't It Cool? Yeah, he's fucking Shakespeare.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna read some of the interview from.
Go for it.
This is I believe her name is Caroline, and she's 33 years old. She's a nonprofit worker living in New York City. Tim League, who is the owner of the Alamos Draft House,
right? And Birth Movies Death.
Okay, so Tim League reached out to her after the allegations came out, and they had a really good conversation that left her feeling like that he understood the situation and was interested in helping Devin. I'm really happy that Tim League took this seriously and that Devin is interested in getting treatment. Hold on to that one. We'll talk about that in a second. I've let them know that I'm available for any accountability processing that might be part of his rehabilitation. The incident dates back to 2004 when Caroline and Faraci, who grew up in New York, were part of the same group of friends living and socializing in the East Village. The incident in question, Faraci was tipsy, Caroline says, I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. But far from obliterated, I liked him and thought he was funny, adding that he was well aware that she was a lesbian and not interested sexually in men. We were dancing and he stuck his hand down my pants, very blatantly on the dance floor. I said, stop. He did it again. I kind of didn't know what to do. I stopped him again and pushed him away. It goes on and on and on about that. I'm going to kind of stop it right there because there's more details that I just, you read it. Hollywood Reporter got a really good interview there. Check it out. One is he was tipsy, right? That's what she was saying. There's been stuff that's come out lately in the last couple of days since this has surfaced that says that Faraci has been a blackout drunk before. That he has been a binge drinking kind of guy that blacks out and does stuff while blacked out, essentially. He has no idea what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. Doesn't excuse any of these actions. I'm just saying that there might be other stuff out there that he just isn't even aware of that he's done. Right.
Well, yeah, I would believe there might be stuff out there that he's not aware of. Yeah.
Right. So
I believe there might be stuff out there he's very aware of. That
he is aware of. Right. Absolutely. I'm just saying that on top of all that, there might even be some stuff that he's not aware of. So if his initial reaction was, I don't remember, but I choose to believe you, it could be one of those things where he's done this multiple times, and there's times that he's been blackout drunk and can't remember it. Right. So I think he's kind of like looking in the mirror at himself and saying, yeah.
I think that's definitely he's probably done it in the past and he can't refute it.
Right. The other part I want to talk about is rehabilitation. I think his statement after he quit was something along the lines he's going to take some time to reflect and become a better person. Right? Everyone becomes a better person after doing something like that, I guess.
Oh yeah, when everybody's caught, you become a better person.
Right. Rehabilitation. It reminds me of. Do you remember Tiger Woods?
Yeah, vaguely recall the name.
When that whole incident with his ex-wife, and you found out that he was just having sex with like porn stars and prostitutes,
pretty
and
much everybody,
a sex addict.
Yeah,
he went into rehabilitation, and there is a sex addict rehabilitation place, right, at a rehab clinic, and he was part of this. And I think it was Vice published a story of another guy that went to that same facility, not when Tiger was there. Mm-hmm. And he's explaining part of the process. And part of the process is embarrassment treatment. And I found this to be fascinating, is they call in like loved ones, like your mom, and you have to her face, explain all the horrible things that you've done of why you're in rehab. So if you're a porn addict, explaining the types, the amount, graphically to your loved ones. And that's part of the therapy, is embarrassment therapy. Mm-hmm. Do you think, A, something like that would work, and B, is that going to be something that Faraci's going to do, you think?
Oh, I don't believe so. I don't believe he's going for any therapy. I think that actually might work. Yeah, if you can be shamed enough, embarrassed enough, maybe you would stop. I don't know if that's a healthy way to deal with your addictions, but it's on the table, I suppose. If the behavior is so extreme that causing you to stop by any means necessary would be beneficial, I suppose that would work. But I don't think he's going to do this. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell. I honestly, given his online persona, I don't know the man personally, I just know his online persona, I don't see him ever backing down. I don't see him ever admitting defeat or being wrong about anything.
What do you think the future for Faraci is at this point, though?
Man, I honestly don't know. He's toxic. I don't think anybody can touch him. Maybe if he goes through the rehab and everything like that, he can try and present himself as a new and improved Devin. But sites are going to take a lot of hate for employing him. Mm-hmm. And I'm still wondering how much hate should actually go at Birth Movie's death and the Alamo Drafthouse for employing him this long.
All right.
This stuff coming out, like I said, who was aware of this? When? The stuff coming out makes it seem like a lot of people knew about this. A lot of people around him knew about this.
This is a point that a commenter just made. Will Stevenson says Faraci was always a jerk, but since film Twitter is such a clique, he was always protected.
Yeah.
I agree.
If Tim League knew about this, then he should not be the CEO of the company anymore. And I would encourage people not to go to Alamo Drafthouse ever again. I mean, finally, Devin Faraci.
Wait. Hey, I saw what you did there. You hate Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh, I was thinking finally that he's gone, I could go to an Alamo Drafthouse again. Now I'm wondering, can I ever go there? Did they encourage a serial abuser? Did they not encourage? Did they enable a serial abuser to keep abusing?
Right.
I don't know. We'll find out. The truth will hopefully come out.
So some comments. Also, Marty saying the Tiger hasn't won a major since. Fair point. Maybe he should have kept his prostitute and
we call it the Michael Jordan activity.
Marty also says that Jay Mariotti never got a major job again. Similar level douche. I forgot about that. I forgot about Jay Mariotti in general. It's a name from like a decade ago. It seems.
Yeah, that's the past. Yeah, I don't even think Harry, who would do anything for money, would even touch Devin Faraci right now.
Ooh, that might be a good bet. I mean, right now, no. 3 months down the road, I think so.
Oh God, I hope you're wrong.
Me too.
I love taking bets, but I'm not touching that one.
I think we've milked the stuff for all that it's worth this week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our main topic. We're gonna do some good horror sequels. I actually found this list to be hard to do. Surprisingly, there are some really good horror sequels out there. So we're going to count down our top 10. We'll turn the show over to some of our friends. I guess we got two videos.
Yeah, two. Just two this week.
Supposed to have three. Two.
Yeah.
See, that's why we were able to go stuff a little bit longer this week because we only got the two videos.
We're stuffing our stuff. Yes.
But we'll do our picks. I'll start off with mine. My number 5.
Your number 5. There you go.
Halloween 3. Not Halloween 2. Halloween 3. I love this movie. I think we were talking about it last week.
Yes, you do love this movie.
I know it's not a true sequel, if you will. It really should not have been a Halloween film. But man, it's a blast. I find this film so much fun. You're not a fan?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I honestly, I'm more of a fan of the other Halloween movies, to be honest. No, maybe not H2O.
Not H2O.
Yeah. Maybe. But no. I actually kind of like the Michael Myers mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, me too. I wanted to put this up here because I wanted to officially give it some what I feel to be well-deserved respect. It's a very, very fun film, and it's not Halloween. It should have been something else. It should have been its own. It shouldn't have been a sequel.
Yes.
It should have been something.
It was really cashing in on the name.
Yeah.
Man, I can appreciate that. They wanted to turn it into a horror anthology. Then you shouldn't have done Halloween 2. It's too late. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
That's right. So,
but it is good. I don't want to be down on it. It's good.
Yeah, it's my number 5.
All right.
I don't know your list, by the way. You didn't tell me.
I didn't know my list for a while. I know I'm going to take some shit for this. Final Destination 5. We had a debate show last Thursday.
5.
Yeah, I actually do kind of like 5.
I like them all. No, I think last week was it debate show? Yeah, it was debate show. I was commenting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a fan of the Final Destination films.
And Michelle said, our guest at the time said, the Final Destination is probably the most fun horror franchise, I should say. And I tend to agree with her. It is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And 5 had some fun kills, and it really had that clever little. Okay, the acting's bad. I'll give you that real quick. But it did have that clever twist at the end where it's actually a prequel. So maybe it's a cheat. I
don't know. I like that. I liked it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I like it though. Yeah, I'm a big fan. There's not a whole lot you can say about it. It's a Rube Goldberg to kill people. That's all it is. Just these horrible little things go wrong. People die. It's so much fun. I could have picked any of them. Well, maybe not 2, but I could have picked any of them.
Talia's asking, is this the roller coaster one?
That's 3.
That's 3, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was.
This is the bridge one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads to the plane.
At the very end. Low spoilers.
Right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to spoil here, but none of the Saw films made my list. But I like the Saw franchise. I also put that as one of the fun horror franchises. Not one of the best, but one of the more fun ones. And see, Marty's asking if Final Destination is really horror. I don't know. I think so. I think it has horror elements.
Look, and I'm not going to take guff from anybody who doesn't, necessarily like horror there, Martin.
I'm cool with this this pick.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yeah. We were actually going to do. Okay.
I'm sorry. You said. Yeah. I thought you meant you were ready.
I am ready. No.
Oh, okay.
To pull the curtain back again, like we do every so often. Before we were a web show, we were also a podcast, and we did a lot of episodes as a podcast, and we've redone some of those episodes as the web show. And we were talking about one of the old podcasts we did was on the Devil's Rejects, and we were talking about it as like, should we redo this? And we decided not to. But we already have hashtag Synergy. Our interview with Sid Haig that we did for this episode is already on YouTube, so check this out. Devil's Rejects, so good, especially when you compare it to the House of a Thousand Corpses, the first film that this follows up.
It definitely is one of those sequels that is better than the original.
And it stands on its own. It doesn't need the first film at all.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder some things, like where's Dr. Satan, things like that.
Yeah, it makes a couple of callbacks to it, but it stands on its own. Right. It's a sequel, not sequel, but it's officially a sequel. So I'm going to put it on my list.
No, it counts. It counts.
Will Stevenson saying the problem with horror franchises is that the premise gets exhausted quickly. I don't know. I mean, I agree for the most part. The premise does get exhausted quickly. But I do think that there's some franchises that the premise kind of evolves, if you will.
Yeah, or devolves.
Oh no, most of them devolve, but I do think that there's a few that the premise. I'll get to that with my number 3. I feel, and the evolution of that franchise, if you will. Anyway, Devil's Rejects. I think it's probably the best Rob Zombie film I've seen.
It's up there. It's absolutely up there.
Yeah, I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen
Lords of Salem.
I haven't seen that. So I would have to say that Devil's Rejects is probably the best Rob Zombie film that I've seen. It's one where it's not that he had restraint.
No.
That's definitely not the word I want to use. But there was a conscious effort on his part to not go absurdly over the top to incoherence, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does after seeing
I feel that 31 we just watched, or House of a Thousand Corpses, they're just so incoherent, so inconsistent, so much of a mess and a hodgepodge. Whereas Devil's Rejects, I feel, told a straight narrative and stayed on focus of this narrative and did all of the over-the-top stuff within the confines of this singular narrative, and it worked.
Oh, it did absolutely work.
That's my number 4.
All right. Let's see. Saw 6, man. Saw 6.
Yes.
At some point, and I can't tell you exactly when, I think it's around 4 or so, Saw became a straight-up horror soap opera.
Love it.
And I had so much fun. By the time Saw 6 rolls around, you're either in or you're out. And they don't even care if you know what's going on or not, because it just jumps right in and just starts just going, just continuing right with the storyline. You find out the old partner's not dead, things like that. It literally is a soap opera, and it's so great because of that.
A horror soap opera, love it.
And I mean, you can tell their budget was slashed a little bit, but it doesn't seem to hurt it that much.
First Saw budget was nothing.
Yeah, it's got a small feel to it. There's no lie. It doesn't have this big kind of epic scope to it at all, but it doesn't hurt it at all. And I really enjoy it. This was another one where I could have picked, 4, 5, 6, not 3D.
Not 3D. Two was good, but I would put 4. I would put 4, 5, 6 over 2 and 3. I like 2 though. 2 was fun.
It was,
but I would definitely put the later ones over the earlier sequels.
I think I feel the same way. And like I said, I mean, come on, it's a horror soap opera. What else do you need? It's something that should be on TV. We need a horror soap opera. I'd
probably say 4 might be, other than 1 is definitely my favorite. I think 1 is still still really good. But 4, I think 4 is probably after 1. I think but 4. Yeah. I mean, they all kind of blend together.
Yeah, I was trying to sit around this morning thinking, what exactly happened in 4 or 6 or 5? It was a little hard to remember, because you're right. I mean, that one long narrative kind of makes you forget what happens when.
Robert Melee has never seen a Saw film and is asking if he is lame.
Well, if you have to ask.
I think that answers the question for you.
I got nothing more to talk about Saw. It's good stuff.
Number 3. Okay. The Evil Dead franchise, I feel, especially now, has shown that a horror franchise can have legs and evolve from what it originally was to become something totally different. The original Evil Dead was a straight up kind of like terrorizing, awful horror film. I mean, I liked it. I'm not saying that was awful. I was just like gruesome, just like brutal. Evil Dead 2 is technically a remake of Evil Dead 1, only adding comedy elements. Like, well, let's call it what it is. It's essentially a remake. Yeah. You know, I should have probably put Army of Darkness, because Army of Darkness is technically the sequel to Evil Dead 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the evolution of Evil Dead 1 to Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 2 to Army of Darkness. I'm going to skip the Evil Dead remake, of course, but from Army of Darkness to what they're doing now on Ash versus the Evil Dead. I mean, you're talking, this is over 30 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while. It took a big break from being able to do this, but the evolution to what it is now is fascinating. And I think they did it the right way. And I think Ash vs. the Evil Dead is exactly what this franchise needs. I don't think they needed another movie. I'm glad that they didn't do Evil Dead 4 like they were planning to. This series is what this franchise needs, and it's perfect to honor the legacy of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and to just give fun into a horror franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly on this one. It's a good pick. It's one of the best horror comedies ever made. And Army of Darkness is more, I would say, a comedy.
It is.
Yeah, this is the horror comedy.
Yeah.
And I do find it interesting that this version of Ash no longer exists after Army of Darkness. It's that version of Ash that exists.
Mm-hmm.
The wisecracking egomaniac, not the dude that's just trying to freaking survive the night.
Right.
Yeah. Very
but
interesting.
I mean, again, I think it works for this. I think it works for Bruce Campbell. I think that's the kind of guy that he is in real life.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. I think even the non-Evil Dead stuff that he's done, so much fun. Bubba Hotep.
I never watched Burn Notice. Was that any good?
I I have a love-hate affair with Burn Notice. I love him on it, though. I do.
Okay.
I love him on it. It's just funny, too, because we were just talking about Don Coscarelli the other day, because there's a new Phantasm movie that's out, Ravager. And you were saying that you've never seen the Phantasm, any of them, right?
That's one of the only horror franchises I've never seen. Yeah.
And Coscarelli wrote Bubba Hotep. And I think he directed it, too. He might have
really?
No. I'm sorry. He directed it. It was written by the guy that does Happen Leonard.
Lansdale?
Lansdale wrote Bubba Hotep.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
Coscarelli directed it. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Little
Bruce
history
Campbell's in it.
lesson.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
A history lesson. Evil Ode 2. So much fun. Love it.
All right.
My number 3.
My number 3, Bride of Chucky, baby.
Dude, awesome. Bravo. See, here's the thing is I can never really surprise you with my picks because I have to send you my picks to actually include into the frame. You actually build the show around, my picks. I'm glad that I didn't know your picks because this is great. I feel like I'm being so surprised. This is a hell of a pick.
I don't have near enough Jennifer Tilly in any of my lists. I'm just going to say that right now. I need to rectify this situation immediately. Yeah. But aside from Jennifer Tilly's engaging
we could probably get her on, right?
I don't know. She's playing poker all the time. I don't know.
Let's get Tilly on.
But aside from that, it's actually a straight up good movie. It's really, this was the 4th, right?
Was it the 4th? I thought it was the. Oh yeah, it was. It was the 4th.
Okay,
it was 4th. It was 4th. Yep.
Right. It was the 4th one, and they took it in a completely different direction. Made it a little more comedic. Well, a lot more.
I mean, the Chucky movies always had that sense of comedy to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think, because Tom Holland,
he's a funny guy. Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Talia saying that, oh my God, LOL, I saw Bride of Chucky, and I have to say for me it was more of a comedy, not a horror, all because of Jennifer Tilly. I do think it's more of a comedy than a horror, but in general, it's part of a horror franchise, and I think Tom Holland's influence on the franchise as a whole can be seen because he is a funny guy. Hashtag Synergy, we interviewed him. You can watch it on this channel.
There you go. Way to do it. But no, it is more comedic than it is scary. There's no doubt about it. But I appreciate it so much. Maybe comedy needs a little bit more gore to keep me engaged these days. Because modern comedies certainly don't do it.
So Talia says that we have a good chance of getting Tilly on our show.
Okay.
I think so. Have we ever tried? Did you ever try that?
No, I've never tried.
We should try.
I'm a little intimidated. Yeah, so that's that's the big time in my mind.
Oh, really?
I saw Bound so many times.
I'm trying to think of some of the other guests that we've had on that should have probably intimidated you, but I'm trying to think. None comes to mind. There should be at least one. 2. I don't know. We've talked to an ex-porn star, didn't we?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, no, okay, I was thinking of the other one. The other porn star you talked to. Yes. Man, okay, but with Tracy Lords, you didn't have to be nervous at all. She just took over the show. I could have gone.
She's great.
I could have gone taking a nap.
She had a great interview. Mm-hmm. Hashtag Synergy. See it on this channel. Number 2. I think Tarmac, our buddy Sean, would be proud about this one.
He would.
Right?
He would be.
Dawn of the Dead. I feel that Dawn of the Dead is the best of the sequels of in the series. It's not the best of the series, but it's the best of the sequels in the series. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I love
You're
this
right.
one. Yeah. I love this one. It's a lot of fun. There's a certain element of humor to it, but the horror aspects of it, the claustrophobia, if you will, the end of the world of being trapped in this one location.
The mall of all places.
The mall,
yes.
And being from Jersey, like we're very mall people here in Jersey. Yeah, kind of hit close to home here. It's like, man, I literally could be stuck in a mall. Like, I've actually had thoughts of if the zombie outbreak were to happen, you try to lock yourself into a place like a Target or a Walmart, right?
Yeah.
A place that you have like everything you could possibly need. Probably like a Walmart in Virginia because you also have ammunition in there. But I digress. But a mall would be one of those places that if you had to you probably survive a while in a mall. You got a lot of stuff in there. I like it.
It taught us our most important lesson, one that every fucking zombie movie followed afterwards. The true enemy is man.
That's true.
Yeah, every damn zombie movie after that.
I'm a big fan of the remake too.
With Snyder?
Snyder, yeah.
It was good.
I like it a lot.
That was back in the day when people didn't know they were supposed to hate Snyder.
That's right. Marty, hashtag Jersey Strong. Yeah, I know. People just didn't realize at the time that this was going to be the guy that they were going to grow to hate.
No, people like Devin Faraci weren't reporting on what books they were reading and why you should hate them.
Oh man, there was actually a comment that we skipped over before about Faraci, but now that you brought it up, as Will Stevenson again, a lot of critics who are very vocal on social issues were silent for the most part when Faraci was exposed. So
that shows where their exactly where their morality lies. Yeah. Well, the true enemy is film critics.
That's right. That was my number two.
Okay. I know this is an odd pick, but this comes from somewhere. First off, it was too big to fit in the frame. Just too big. Nightmare on Elm Street.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other day, Stefan and I were talking about Room 237, and all the ridiculous symbolism people apply to that movie. The paper trays a penis. It's really a hidden metaphor for the moon landing. And Stefan asked me point blank, "What's a good movie? What's a good example of symbolism that helps support the story?" It's Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The symbolism, the undercurrent of a young boy dealing with being a homosexual, very, very interesting in this whole movie. The nightmares with Freddy, the nightmares, not even a nightmare, the actual living hell of having an S&M PE teacher who might be really the only other gay person you know. There's a lot of interesting subtext going on in here. And honest to God, it's not even really that much of subtext. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
It's playing on a big theme that was kind of...
was not talked about in those days, really.
Yeah. It was the 80s kind of... it started to... I won't say, address... I guess address would be... It started to, but in the same way that it was addressing it, it was also trying to sweep it under the rug. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think that... I mean, truth be told, I'm a fan of the... Nightmare on Elm Street franchise in general. There's definitely some misses. There's definitely... They probably went a little too silly with the Freddy Krueger role when they didn't need to. I think there was such a great balance in the first couple between his humor and his just ultimate when they started giving him playing with Nintendo power and inside the video game
when he's flying in on the broom, I'm gonna get you.
When they started making it slapstick Freddy. I get it. Robert Englund probably wanted to if he was going to be this role, if he was going to be typecast in this role, he wanted to branch out a little bit. But in general, I'm a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street series, so I'm good with your pick here.
Yeah, I do find it interesting because it's tonally so different from the rest of the franchise. It really sticks out all by itself, and I like that. It's a little bit different. That's it.
Man, I love me that first one though.
Oh, it's a classic. Yeah, we're not. Yeah,
first one's so good.
I would have put that on the list.
Well,
if it was, there you go.
Amanda, Dream Warriors.
Everybody says Dream Warriors. I know.
My number one is a tad bit of a cop out, I guess.
Is it?
I think so. I don't consider Aliens as much of a horror film as I do Alien. Alien is a true horror film to me, right? It's straight up horror film in space. Aliens is a military film. It's like a great war film. It's probably one of the better like war films I've ever seen. That said, it is a sequel to a horror film, so I have to count it. Even though it's not much of a horror film itself, it's got horror elements. But you get what I'm saying. It's more of just like this military film as opposed to a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great. I caught some of it the other night, and it's like, man, I love this film.
It's a classic, yeah. It's so good. There's no doubt about it. I'm a big
Damn, is it good?
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah. You look back and you think, man, James Cameron used to really kick ass.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
It boggles the mind. Like, I used to think Terminator 2 was, probably the tops of my action films, and I used to think it's like, well, Terminator 2 is the best thing that Cameron's done.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens.
Whoa.
Aliens better than Terminator 2. Aliens.
It's a bold statement.
Yeah. Marty's also saying, really don't think that's horror. #Guff. I framed it properly. Come on.
We can just
I framed it like that.
slide that over like that. And just...
Alien. Well, I mean, Alien is a hell
I know.
horror film.
Yeah.
It's I think I've mentioned on my old podcast that Alien flip-flops with Texas Chainsaw Massacre as my favorite horror film. Like, it really, between Alien and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if I watch one of them, it instantly will boost that to number one, and then when I watch the other one, they're interchangeable. But Alien's great film. It is a horror sequel, so I count it. Your number one.
My number one. And if you watched last week, you knew I was going to pick it. I said I was going to pick it.
You did.
Exorcist 3. Well, how do you come back from one of the worst sequels in the history of films? You make Exorcist 3.
It's fun.
It's so good. I love how grounded it is. I love how realistic it feels, for the most part. Yeah. I do love that just throw George C. Scott in, and you're already ahead of the game. He is so good as the detective working these murders. He's old. He's tired. His friends are all old and tired. It's just, I love it so much. With that being said, the stupid, tacked on exorcism at the end of the movie that the studio forced on Blatty, it really doesn't work that well.
Right.
But somewhere out there, they still have the footage. They still have the original cut.
Right.
And, for the love of God, someday, somebody please release the real cut of Exorcist 3.
Yeah, I was actually looking up on IMDb as we're talking.
Fantastic. George C. Scott kills it. Brad Dourif kills it.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
All right.
It's so good. So good. And it's hard to quantify exactly why it works so well, but it's the feel. It really feels like you're really there. It has such a perfectly grounded feel where you can accept that these kinds of, a detective might have to solve a supernatural case like this. And I really appreciate it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's good stuff. Will Stevenson saying, but Avatar was such a memorable original film that people still talk about. Not really.
Yeah, Will, you're right on, man. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, he's right. Avatar had the pop culture impact of Home Improvement. Who talks about Home Improvement anymore? Nobody. Who talks about Avatar anymore? Nobody.
I've never seen Avatar, and the main reason I never saw Avatar is because I didn't see it in theaters, and I saw no point in seeing it at home.
While I was watching Avatar in the theater in 3D, I thought, Jesus, I'm so glad I'm not watching this in 2D. Otherwise, I think I'd want to kill myself.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Like, if I saw it in theaters, that would be the only time I would watch it.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Good list.
That's our
Good list.
Yeah.
That's our list. We are coming in technically under the time limit, but we have we'll be a couple minutes over this week.
Oh yeah, we will be.
So Will saying that we inspired him to expand his horizons and watch more horror films. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone that hung out, watched the show, and participated in the chat. We really appreciate it. We're going to close out this episode of Movies and Stuff Show. Please make sure to like. If you like the video, Amanda, please like. Comment below. Subscribe to us over here at YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. If you listen to us on iTunes or listen to us on SoundCloud, thank you for doing so. Please like us there, follow us there, or swing on by to YouTube and watch us live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever, Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Tuesdays. We will be back next Tuesday to discuss the horror film Motivational Growth. This was an episode that we did in our old podcast. We're redoing it, but we air a great interview we did with Jeffrey Combs. We'll also have some other stuff to talk about. We always have stuff to talk about. Again, thank you everyone that watched. Catch you later. Abe, final words?
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Later.
Bye.
Okay. The best horror sequels. It was supposed to be a top 5, but it has to be 6 because I couldn't rule one of them out. But so, here goes. The Exorcist 3. Now, after the massive pile of excrement that was John Borman's Exorcist 2, William Peter Blatty, the writer of the original, came and did it how it was supposed to be done. And of course, George C. Scott rules. I hear that they are now making a director's cut of this, which should be coming out soon, so it will be very interesting. Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. Now, this one does exactly what a sequel is supposed to do. It expands the mythology and the scope of the original, because original, while it is a classic, the budget limits are very clearly shown in the kind of claustrophobic setting it has. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, this didn't do very well in box office at the time, which is probably due to the fact that Tobe Hooper he did not go for that absolutely relentless terror of the original, but instead made it sort of a black comedy. Well, it's still pretty relentless, but it's also pretty goddamn funny. Halloween 3. You have to give John Carpenter and Deborah Hill a lot of credit for trying to do something a bit more original and kind of try to make Halloween an anthology series, but unfortunately they made Michael Myers too good of a villain, so the audiences wanted more of the masked man instead of some pretty original and quite nasty piece of work as this one is. Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, one of the most entertaining movies ever made. Now, I know there's a lot of debate over whether this is a sequel or a remake, but it has a number after the title. Case fucking closed. And of course, Dawn of the Dead, which is, this is for Sean especially. I mean, not only a great horror sequel, but one of the best movies ever made. So there's my list. Thank you.
Great. So I was asked to say something about horror movies, maybe like a top 5 sequels thing. That's generally what we do here at Movies and Stuff and other things. But I don't really do horror. I mean, I've seen a lot of bad movies, but not a lot of horror movies. And those generally overlap a lot. So statistically, I should be an expert. I do have the unique distinction of maybe being the only human being alive who's seen like every Hellraiser sequel. So I'm just going to talk about those for a minute. So I guess The fifth best one is probably the random one where it was really just like a crime procedural, and then in like the last 5 minutes, Pinhead shows up, and you're like, what? The fourth best one is probably the one where it was like a random crime procedural, and at the end, Julia shows up, and she's like, "What? You thought you were gonna sell me out to the Cenobites? Hell no, bitch." The third best one is probably the one with the old man who buries the kids alive. And then Pinhead shows up for like the last 5 minutes again. The second best one is probably like actually the second sequel. And then the number one, very best one is Hellraiser in space. Because in space, that's the pinnacle of every horror series. And I don't think you can argue with logic like in space. Maybe in space or like with dinosaurs. Like Hellraiser with dinosaurs is the only thing that could give Hellraiser in space a run for its money. And so that's really, I think we already reached the extent of all of my knowledge about horror movies. So maybe next year for Halloween, I can rank all of the Jason movies or something. All right, good night.